Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, and I am excited to have you here today learning about your health and choosing to take proactive and empowered action in your health. And today I want to talk to you about the fact that your genes are not the root cause of your illness or disease. They are also not indicative of your health outcomes. But before we dive into that, I just want to share with you a lovely testimonial I received recently. And this testimonial says, Melissa has been amazing to work with. For years, I've asked my doctor to just listen and help me figure out what was going on with my body. After years of no answers, I met Melissa, and I finally have answers. I completed a detox with her and continue to coach with her along the way. I already have so much energy and feel like me again. I love working with her. Thank you, Amber, for that wonderful testimonial. And I love working with you too. So now to dive into this episode, I just want to share with you that unfortunately, over the past 50 years or so, we have been programmed to be victims when it comes to our health. We have been told that if your mother and your grandmother had breast cancer, you'll get it too. Or if your father had heart disease, you will too. And as such, we've come to believe that we are the victims of our genes. This then causes us to have these negative thoughts running around through our mind, along with some fear. And that fear causes stress in the body, which weakens our immune system. And before long, we've actually caused ourselves to get breast cancer or heart disease because our mind is so powerful and we've unknowingly manifested what we were told would happen. Our mind gives us more of what we focus on. And so if we're focusing on the fear, if we're focusing on the negative, we get more of that. And that is the unfortunate situation with where we've been for the last 50 years, where we have been set up as this victim of our genes or our genetics. But the reality, though, is that it doesn't have to be that way. And that's the news that I want to share with you today, because this is so exciting. You have so much more control over your health than you've been led to believe. And our unconscious mind has a blueprint of what our genetic makeup is. And of course, we get some of that from our mother and some of that from our father. Yet there may be genes, they may be the genes that predispose us to certain diseases. However, the genes do not turn on all by themselves. The genes have to be triggered by other events or conditions in order for them to get turned on and then cause that disease that we are genetically predisposed to start festering in our body. This is the science of epigenetics. And this science states that only 5 to 10% of our health outcomes are in fact dictated by our genes. The other 90 to 95% are dictated by the environment we create inside our bodies. This includes in our gut and in our mind. Our mind, as I have said, will literally give us what we focus on. This is manifestation. So what are you manifesting? Are you even aware of what you are focusing on? Or is it all purely coming from your unconscious mind and therefore unconscious? I love the science of epigenetics as it shows us that we have so much more power over our health outcomes than we have been previously led to believe. We can choose to focus on healing rather than focusing on disease. We can choose to focus on better choices of nutrition, to engage in more movement, to prioritize our sleep, to lower our stress. And by doing so, we are also supporting our physical body in positive ways that will reduce the risk of being in a state of dis-ease in our physical body. What we also have to realize is that our chronic illness or dis-ease isn't only impacted by the state of our physical body, but also by the health of our emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And this is even more important than the state of our physical body, as by the time the symptoms of dis-ease have shown up in our physical body, they have already moved through our other three bodies: our mental body, our emotional body, and our spiritual body. Now, these three bodies are largely ignored by our medical industry and yet are critical in achieving optimal health. If we heal the physical body and do not address the other three bodies, then the illness is highly likely to return within 12 to 24 months. If, however, we heal all four bodies, that is when we achieve lasting health, and the risk of recurrence is very low, as long as we continue to focus on the health of all four bodies, making healthy choices in our nutrition, our movement, our sleep, our stress levels, all of which can positively or negatively impact the health of our emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies, as well as our physical body. Choosing to positively change our emotions causes positive physiological changes in our body. If we instead allow negative changes to our emotions, it will also cause physiological changes in our body, weakening our immune system. So what if you imagine yourself, or what image of yourself and your life do you carry around in your mind's eye? Do you see yourself positively? Do you see a life of joy and fun? Or do you see doom and gloom, as this visualization you play all day long dictates your health outcomes? It's the movie screen of your life that you can literally see if you close your eyes. What movie are you playing? Think about this. 1 in 3 people suffer from cancer, and yet no one gene causes cancer. And in fact, Dr. Bruce Lipton says that 90% of all cancers have no family lineage. And there are cases where adopted family members will get the same disease as their siblings, even though their genetic blueprint is completely different because they've been adopted into the family. It is because the disease is triggered by more than just the genes. It is triggered by the combination of our physical health, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. If our trash cans are overflowing in our physical body, as well as our emotional and mental bodies, then there's disharmony or misalignment in our bodies, and this will cause disease to show up in the physical body. The environment in which we live impacts our health outcomes. And so somebody can be adopted into the family and, choose the same nutrition as everybody else in the family, make the same choices around movement or lack thereof, etc., etc. Their spiritual learnings are the same because they grew up in the same household. Their mental and their emotional toxicity can be similar. And so this is why somebody who has no genetic connection because they've been adopted into the family can still get similar disease to other family members because that entire environment of their life has been so intertwined. So what else is triggering illness or disease? Not only do we have a genetic blueprint, we also have programming. And from the time we are in the womb through to about age 7, we are simply downloading programs to run on the hard drive of our mind. These are all part of our unconscious programming learned from all of our experiences during those first 7 years, as well as what we witnessed during that time. We are programmed during those years to learn by observing our family members, friends, and to simply just download it all so that we can follow the societal rules. And these programs become our habits that are then run by our unconscious mind. And depending what we downloaded, they can set us up for success or a more difficult time in adulthood. If you watched your parents constantly arguing over money, you will have developed programming around money. And it's quite likely it's programming that says you don't want it because it causes arguments. And so, as such, you may have a hard time making money, or perhaps you're able to make lots of money. However, your programming also has you get rid of it very quickly because it causes arguments. And as such, you can't build any wealth in your life. As a fetus, you were taking on your mother's emotions. If she was happy and relaxed during her pregnancy, you got different chemicals flooding through your body through her blood than if she was anxious and frightened during pregnancy. And as an adult now, you spend 95% of your day in a state of trance where you are being run by the programming that developed before you were the age of 7. And think about that for a moment. Could somebody under the age of 7 run your life right now for the life that you want? Probably not, right? And so that's where we can get stuck and we can get held back in adulthood because we've been running these programs that we're not aware of because they're unconscious. And when we start to understand all of this, we realize I can make some changes and take action to do that. Your conscious mind wants health and longevity. However, the programming of your unconscious mind gives us our patterns and habits. And 60% of the time, it is self-sabotaging. And we aren't even aware of it because it's unconscious. It takes someone else to point this out to you. And so this is where it is very helpful to work with someone who can see your blind spots and gently share them with you and help you move out of the patterning and habits that are preventing you from living the life you want. And this is why I love the tools of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy, as they are the most powerful mind-body tools on the planet. And they can help us create these changes and create new neurological pathways in your unconscious mind and do it very quickly and easily for you. When we tap into the unconscious mind, keeping the conscious thinking mind out of the way, we can literally reprogram the unconscious mind to erase the old patterning that no longer serves and reprogram it with what you do want. And as I said, it's very quick and easy to do. It may sound too good to be true as you've never heard of this before. However, trust me, it works. I love using these tools with my clients. And unfortunately, this isn't taught through our education system, which is why you likely haven't heard of this before. And I truly wish it was taught in our education system, as teaching this information to our elementary and middle school age children would really accelerate their success in life. But going back to cancer, I learned a stat the other day that women with breast cancer can decrease the risk of dying by 75% simply by finding a supportive community and lowering their stress. The lowering of their stress causes chemical changes in their body, which will boost their immune system. And finding a supportive community can also lower their stress levels because they aren't feeling alone and focusing on their fear. Instead, they can feel heard and hear stories of others who have healed themselves, which gives them hope. This shift in mindset shifts the vision they have of themselves in their mind's eye. They can see a future for themselves, and that vision is what the unconscious mind will deliver to them, especially if they really focus on that positive vision and attach positive emotions to it. Again, positively impacting their physiology. Taking the next step to clear out the toxic emotions and limiting beliefs embedded during those years of 0 to 7, they can further enhance their healing and reduce the risk of the cancer coming back. This is how we get to lasting healing. So what do you want out of your life? What vision do you hold of yourself in your mind's eye? Do you believe that you will get whatever illness your parents had? Or do you realize that you can absolutely change that for yourself? I know I can change that for myself, and I focus on detoxing all of my bodies to ensure that they are in alignment and harmony, and you absolutely can do this too. And if you want to learn more, please reach out. This is powerful work, which I love offering my clients. I love nothing more than to set you on the path of optimal health and to let you know that you can be empowered in your health. You don't have to be like the average person in North America today, spending 10 years of your life in a nursing home. You can choose differently because you've listened to this podcast and learned that you don't have to be a victim of your genes. So thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough to tune into this podcast and learn with each episode that comes out, and then hopefully implement what you're learning and also sharing it with others that can benefit, because it's my mission to really reduce the rate of chronic illness that we have in the world today and to let people know there is another way and that your dis-ease is not a life sentence. And even if you've been told that there's nothing that can be done for you by your doctor, that isn't necessarily true. There are so many ways to healing. And when we address all four bodies, it is powerful. And so please share this with others that need to hear this message so that every human on this planet knows that they really are their own best doctor. They've lived in their body their entire lives, and that there's so much more that can be done to support you on your healing journey. So thanks for listening. And I look forward to having you come back next week when I'm doing a really unique episode in honor of International Pet Day that is coming up. I have 3 guests in one episode that all specialize in health for your pets. And I've never done a show just for pets before, so I'm really excited to bring this to you because the health of your pets matters too. So see you back here next week. If you're enjoying my content and someone that wants to step into being proactive in your health and learning more, I would love to invite you to join my membership community. There's a link in the show notes. For only $19.99 a month, you get access to all of my content, and there's a lot, as well as weekly calls that you can come and get your health questions answered. It's truly priceless. I'd love to see you join the community. Check out the link in the show notes.